Happy Monday afternoon, Tallahassee. This is student meteorologist Chris Malva here with your Monday edition of FSU weather. We're going to take a live look at Doak Campbell Stadium right now. Not a single cloud in the sky, and that's because we have some high pressure sitting over us, which means you have sinking air and not whole clouds to go around. And we're sitting quite cooler compared to the average. We're at 54 now, and it's pretty breezy out there as well. 22 miles an hour is what we're looking at right now. Around the Big Bend, we're sitting in the 50s for most of us here, and that's quite cooler than what we've been seeing these past couple of days. We have this deep trough that's been bringing us some colder air, and that doesn't even compare to what's coming tonight. We'll be talking about that a little bit more on tonight's show. Some good news for you, though. In the tropics, nothing expected to develop in the next 7 days, but we're going to kind of focus our attention more on our cold weather that's going to be coming into the region. It is a bit of a shorter show today because I am actually the only one doing it tonight, but we do have a first freeze and fire warning. That's our first one of the year, and of course we do have some chillier weather to talk about tonight. All this and more on FSU Weather. Welcome back. This is student meteorologist Chris Malva here. We're going to take a look at some spots around Tallahassee over at the Sportsplex. Absolutely lovely skies, and even over us, above us right now at EOAS, and just lovely conditions to go around, but still a little bit on the chillier side of things. So hopefully you remember to bring maybe a light jacket or a sweatshirt today. On our radar right now, not a whole lot of action. We're staying quite dry around Tallahassee, just a little bit of ground scatter towards the coast, but again, nothing to worry about. We do have that high pressure looming over us and all around the Big Bend, sitting in those 50s, 54 in Tallahassee and over in Quincy. A little bit cooler though over in Marianne at 51. So low to mid 50s is kind of the big story going around, but look at those lows for tonight. I mean, it is just a sea of blue with our lows in the 30s in some spots closer to Georgia. Monticello 29. That's still in North Florida, but once you make it to Georgia, make it to Thomasville 28. So this is our first big cold snap of the year. So if you have any late night plans tonight, make sure to really bundle up, especially if you're more sensitive to this cold weather. And you saw those overnight lows going to be in those low 30s, upper 20s, and that's not even accounting for wind chill. So let's kind of talk about that. So basically our bodies lose heat through convection, which does help us to stay warm. Now we're going to look at a situation where we're assuming that there's no wind. So once you step outside, it is going to feel like you're in the 20s. This is just an example, but when you step outside tonight, it will still feel quite chilly. But now let's factor in that wind. So here we have about a 20-mile-an-hour wind gust. And what that wind does is it actually breaks apart that insulating warm air, that layer that's trying to keep us warm. So that's going to make things feel a little bit chillier than it actually is. And that's why you're definitely going to want to bundle up tonight so you're not shivering like my friend right here. And once you factor in, I mean, 4 degrees, that is really chilly. Not going to be that cold tonight, but with that wind chill factored in, we could still feel like those upper 20s. And I mean, by the time you're waking up tomorrow, 29, so it's going to be a very cold morning. So maybe if you're going to walk your dog, I would try and maybe wait a little bit longer, maybe even wait till the afternoon where at least we'll be in the upper 40s and 50s throughout the rest of the day. So still a bit chillier. I think a windbreaker or a quarter zip might be the move for tomorrow. But make sure to take care of your people, pets, plants, and pipes. Those are the 4 Ps. You're going to want to remember those going into the next couple hours. But now we're going to take a look at the southeast and check out this really lovely sun halo over my hometown of Tampa, Florida. 63, so it is kind of chilly for them. Not too bad, and definitely not like what we've seen the past couple months. So 63 for like a high what we're seeing right now, it's, you know, not normal at all for them. Like usually this time of year they're still sitting in those 80s, but over in Birmingham 38 and even just barely above freezing over in Nashville. Now we're going to take a look at our live radar where we do actually have a little bit of, it's kind of hard to see, but there was earlier when I checked the radar, there was a little bit of a wintry mix. A couple of showers though kind of right here along the North Carolina, South Carolina border. You see a little bit of clouds, and the further north you go, they're actually getting a little bit of snow. But right behind me, you can see this really defined trough of cold air coming in from Canada. It's dropping our temperatures. 33 in Nashville. That's why it's so chilly there. I mean, 37 in Atlanta. It's a little bit early for this time of year to get some of this cooler weather. I mean, 60s for Central Florida. That's a little bit atypical for them. I mean, Central Alabama as well, Montgomery, 45. So definitely a quite chillier day. And to top it off, we also have some really dry air sitting over us. We had that cold front that passed through yesterday and Sunday as well. And behind that was a lot of this dry air, these are some of the lowest dew points I've seen in a while. I mean, 17 in Tallahassee, 26 in Charleston, still a bit more muggy in Miami, but for most of us here in the Southeast, sitting quite dry. And because of all this dry air, we do have a red flag warning in effect, and part of that's because we've still been seeing those extreme drought conditions, especially here back home in Tallahassee. So maybe if you're trying to light maybe a bonfire tonight, please be careful, because all it takes is a spark for a fire to just ignite and continue to travel. But taking a look ahead towards Tuesday, sitting mostly clear for most of the Southeast, just a couple passing clouds. And by Wednesday, we can see just a few more clouds building over by Louisiana. And then again, still seeing some more kind of scattered clouds over the next couple days. So not a whole lot in terms of rain chances, but over these next couple days, we're going to start to warm a little bit more back up. But some good news is our morning lows will still kind of feel like fall. So if you're in Nashville tonight, it is going to be cold, cold, cold. It's kind of beginning to feel like Christmas, dare I say, but only about for 2 days. So still got to hold out a couple more weeks, but it's still going to be quite cool tonight. 51 for your high going into tomorrow, but still overnight, low to mid 20s for Nashville. Still kind of gradually starting to warm up. 67 and 74 by the time we get to Friday. So we'll kind of see that warming trend continue throughout the week. But if you are in New Orleans this week, I mean, 38, that is quite cold for them tonight. So definitely layer up tonight if you find yourself on Bourbon Street tonight. But by the time we get to the end of the week, we should be just about in those mid 70s, and our morning lows will be in the 50s for the most part. But tonight just looks like a sea of blue to go all around the Southeast. 25 in Montgomery. This is definitely one of the coolest nights we've seen around the Southeast in quite some time. So I can't emphasize it enough, especially if you're sensitive to this colder weather. You're definitely going to want to bundle up tonight if you have some evening plans. 36 in Shreveport and below freezing in Little Rock. So definitely a cooler night in store. But as we look towards tomorrow, you can kind of see that trough kind of moves a little bit more north, or kind of starts to warm up again by the time we get to tomorrow. So 54 in Montgomery, 60 in Jackson. So still some nice weather to go around. 70 in Shreveport, so it's a bit more of a warm up for them, but still not too bad of weather. And I know for us in Florida, we're going to be in those 50s, a little bit warmer down towards Tampa and even Miami, still sitting in the 60s. So if you're especially from South Florida, maybe something you're not as used to, but we are starting to get to winter, so you're going to have to start getting ready for some more cooler weather. But, for them, at least it's kind of more like a Florida winter. But as we look at our national right now, you can see we do have some clouds moving in to the Dakotas as well as Montana. A few showers there, and even a little bit of frozen precipitation or freezing rain, that kind of thing. But as we look over towards the Appalachians, you can kind of see we actually are getting some snow with this system. So the higher you go in elevation, we are able to actually get some more of that accumulation. It is going to be, our temperatures, as you go higher up in elevation, temperature decreases with height. So it is going to be cooler for them. But we also do have some of that more wintry mix up here. That was the word I was trying to think of earlier. We also have some rain kind of moving into the state of Maine. And we're going to kind of zoom in to some of the snow. We actually have a lot of lake effect snow coming off of Lake Michigan. You kind of see that parts of Michigan and even kind of moving towards Fort Wayne, starting to get some of that snowfall. And these places have already seen several inches of snow. So just more and more snowfall continuing to be piled on in these locations. And we're also seeing some of those snow showers here in the Appalachian Mountains. Charlotte, kind of getting a little bit of rain, but maybe if you go a little bit to the west, kind of see some snow. Again, kind of that wintry mix. Kind of depends really on that elevation and kind of just the temperature you're sitting at right now. But looking over towards Albany, again, going up north, starting to get some of more of that frozen precip, which is pretty nice to see. Maybe if you're a snow enjoyer, this is great news for you. But if you're over in Boston, keep an eye out for some showers and storms kind of over the next couple hours. So definitely hold on to that umbrella. And if you're dealing with snow, make sure to have those snow boots with you. But here, again, you can see that very clearly defined trough, just all this cold air that's being transported down into the Midwest and even making it down to the Southeast, which is why it's feeling so cool right now for a lot of us. I mean, 40 in Memphis, 36 over in Kansas City, right at freezing over in Chicago. But over out west, still staying pretty mild for the most part, 69 in Los Angeles and 68 as well over in San Francisco. And most of the country right now sitting very, very dry as far as our dew points are concerned. The exception being out west, where we do have some showers and storms are going to be kind of moving in over there. So it makes sense why there's a little bit more moisture in the air. But again, high pressure kind of dominating a lot of us, especially here in the Southeast. These dew points are quite low, especially for us. And still, that's not really going to help our drought monitor at all. Still not going to be getting too much rain these next couple days, so nothing to bust those drought conditions. So that's why that red flag warning is in place. Again, make sure to exercise caution if you're going to be playing with fire, let's say, or if you're going to be like having a campfire, that kind of thing. Just make sure to exercise caution. Looking over at the future radar, again, we have some of those showers and storms moving in towards Seattle. But as we look towards tonight, a very chilly forecast for much of us here, 27 in Memphis. Very, very cold weather for us, especially here in the Southeast. It's kind of been the big point we've been trying to kind of hammer home tonight. 30 in Minneapolis and 28 in Kansas City. A little bit of rain over in Boston, still quite chilly for them, 34. And tonight back home in Tallahassee, 29. So still going to be quite cold. Now, I did see a post from Barstool earlier. I know some people were maybe hoping for another big snow event here in Tallahassee. Now, I hate to be that guy, but it's not going to happen with this system. That's because we don't have enough moisture to actually get snow here in Tallahassee. But who knows? Maybe we'll have to wait. We'll have to see when the next snow event is. I'm honestly not sure, but who knows? I will say, though, that January event was just awesome. One of my favorite memories of being a student here at FSU. But looking towards tomorrow's temperatures, 46 over in D.C. Warming back up, though, in the state of Texas, 71 over in Dallas and 74 in San Antonio. So some mild conditions, especially if you're going out west, but a little bit more unusually chilly for us here, especially in the southeastern U.S. Now, as we take a look at that temperature outlook, this is kind of reflecting that warm-up I was hinting at earlier. You can see that by the time we get to next week, we're going to likely be above average for us here in Tallahassee and much of the southeast, including Atlanta, Charleston, Daytona Beach. Those places could be feeling a bit warmer, especially by the time we're well into mid-November, even getting closer to Thanksgiving. Quite warmer weather on the way for us, so enjoy the cold snap while it lasts, or if you're not really a fan of this colder weather, maybe just stay inside for the next couple days. But out towards the west, kind of sitting a little bit below average for those temperatures over the next several days. But now, as we kind of zoom back in on Tallahassee, still staying clear on that radar with no rain to worry about, and unfortunately, no snow. Sorry, guys. Better luck next time, but still, you're going to want to bundle up tonight. Still sitting in those 50s right now, so we're kind of in that layer weather season, so you can wear a lighter jacket for now, but tonight, trust me, you're going to want 2 or maybe even more layers tonight, especially with these cool temperatures, 29 in Monticello. I mean, down at the coast, too, 33. That is quite chilly for them, but should be a nice night for stargazing because we do have clear skies to go around. Because we have those clear skies, the ground is able to cool even more, which is why the National Weather Service thinks we could be getting these sub-freezing temperatures here all around the Florida Big Bend. Tomorrow is another nice, pleasant day, still a bit on the chillier side. In those mid-50s, we'll be at 57 tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine to go around. A lovely Veterans Day in store. But as we take a look at our 7-day, we're going to be seeing those mid-50s for a lot of us here in the Big Bend, but notice those really low lows in the morning, 20s and 30s for a lot of the Florida Big Bend. But the pattern you'll kind of notice over the next couple of days is we're going to continue to gradually warm back up into the upper 70s by Saturday. But keep an eye out for that rain chance by the time we get to Monday next week. Right now it's about a 30% chance of rain, but if you are a fall weather lover, here's some good news for you. We'll still be in those 40s for the most part until we get to Monday next week. We'll be back in the 50s for our lows, so some pretty lovely weather in store. Again, kind of depends on maybe your personality. If you are a fan of the cold weather, go ahead and enjoy those morning lows, and you'll hopefully get to see some frost tomorrow. No snow, but make sure to follow us on X at FSU Weather. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at FSU Weather. If you haven't done so already, make sure to follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. If you're watching us live right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button on FSU Weather. But wait, don't forget to follow us on TikTok at FSU Weather. Here's one last look at your 7-day forecast.